Well, Billy, last time out in Quest, we spoke in the build-up, 48 hours out from, the show. The inevitable happens with boxing. You step into the fight against Jack O'Sullivan, and we said, sometimes opportunity knocks. You answer the door, took it with both hands, became the national Quest heavyweight champion. Before we head into the sort of the talk about the next fight, June the 14th, defending your title up against Dave Choppin, I just really wanted to sort of recap that last performance and say, wow, what a statement win for you to grab the national title, stopping 100%. Jack O'Sullivan, and I really wanted to find out from your perspective, could that fight have gone any better?
I said to Ben after, it was obviously a good performance, stopped him in the first round. I've watched it back a couple of times and I noticed I wobbled him a few times. And if I was being critical of myself, I probably should have got him out sooner. Probably shouldn't have given Ken the chance to stop the fight. I should have stopped him without any question of doubt, because there's always going to be now, he was still standing. He was a bit unsteady, but should he have got an 8 count? Me being critical, I don't like that. I should have done it. I should have got him out sooner. But Jack's a great calibre of boxer. When the fight got made, I had a few people saying, "Are you sure you want to take that? Jack's on the uprise at the moment." And I can't say no to a fight. It's a great opportunity. As you said, the opportunity knocked, and I answered and took the opportunity.
Yeah, it was a stunning victory. You hit him with some vicious shots in that fight. One that, I've watched the fight back. I've watched, like you say, you had him rocked, you had him in trouble. You sort of there was at one point just before the stoppage where you kind of dipped your knees, came up with a really really vicious uppercut.
Yeah.
And the fight had to be stopped. There was no question.
Fair play to Jack for staying standing. Not many people would have still been on their feet after that. It landed so clean, it landed so flush, and fair play to him.
Yeah, and to Jack's credit, he's a fighting man, because even though he was stopped, and even, definitely in my opinion, the fight was definitely right to be stopped, he still wanted to continue, so he wasn't sort of making any excuses, he wasn't looking for a way out.
No.
That was a genuine...
No, he was adamant, he was alright, but he was on unsteady legs, and even after the decision was called, after you do the stand in the ring and you get your belt, he was still unsteady. So yeah, it probably was the right decision, but being critical, I should have taken it sooner.
Well, we can always look back, and it's good to look back and sort of think, could have done, should have done, but a win is a win.
100%.
A national title is something that a lot of fighters dream of. So you enter this next contest on Saturday, June the 14th, as the national champion.
Yeah.
And I've got to say, I've already spoken to your opponent, Dave Choppin. I've already gone through the backstory with him, and I'm going to give you the opportunity to sort of from your perspective. But I've always said, throughout the history of boxing, there have been rivalries built on genuine kind of hatred, genuine animosity to the opponent, bad blood, call it what you want. Boxing has had some incredible rivalries throughout the history of the sport. But this is a very different rivalry. This is, I would say, purely based on two athletes wanting to prove who the better fighter is, not because, like I say, there's a rivalry built on sort of hatred or anything like that. You both know each other. You've both kind of been in and around the scene, and I say grown within the sport, kind of at the same time-ish. So I wanted to kind of get your perspective on how you first met Dave Choppin, where the sort of this has come from, and also we'll then dive into how we think this fight is going to go. But first and foremost, where did it all start with you and Choppin?
It was one of them ultra white collar boxings. He had done one before me, and I was in the training, doing my first ever camp, proper camp for it. And he got brought down to help out with sparring. And I think he had just won. I think it was one of the Quest titles back about 7-8 years ago. He had just won one of the titles. It was, oh my god, a Quest champion's walking in to help sparring. I've got to take everything what he says and really appreciate it. And we had a few rounds sparring then, and he was giving me a few pointers and that. And then ever since then, we've always stayed in touch. Quite a good mate of mine. And yeah, we've just I've gone down to White Dogs, done some sparring with him. We've got mutual friends that we'll do some sparring together. It's going to be a tough bout, but it's two mates meeting in the ring. I told him, like, when the fight was made, you'll be my mate before, you'll be my mate after. But that 5 rounds, if it goes 5 rounds, you're my worst enemy, and we'll leave it at that. As you said, he done well against Bailey. So yeah, it's been a long time coming. We've always had a bit of banter about it, saying, "Oh, one day we're going to have this bout," and he's always quick, very sharp to say, "Yeah, but you don't want that. You don't want that." It's like, I do, Dave. I really do. So I'm excited for it. I'm excited. We're putting in the work, and yeah, we'll see what happens on the 14th.
The one thing I'll ask, because you see where in boxing it's like leaked sparring footage, you see it all the time sort of coming out from sort of people who are sparring, maybe friends, gym mates, etc., and then when the fight is made, this sparring footage is either sort of accidentally or deliberately released to sort of show one fighter getting on top of the other. But, from your perspective, looking back at that sparring, and it was probably maybe sort of, too early in your career to take anything from it, but what did you take from that sparring? That
he's fitter than he looks. He's got an engine on him. He's up in your face. He don't give you a chance. But I take every sparring session you learn something. You always say, like, sparring is not about going hammer and nails at each other. It's about putting into practice what you've been working on in the gym, working on the pad, working on the pads. But you're getting punches thrown back at you. You're in the ring. You're doing it real time as such, just without the power and malice behind it. But he's clever. He's clever. He don't look it. He don't seem it, but he's clever. So we'll just see what happens. It's very, very good learning curve, but you never know, that experience might come back to haunt him.
I was going to say, there's different degrees or levels of sort of awkwardness in this. Obviously, as a matchup, you know each other, so people will always say, how do you get up for a fight with your mate? It's just like, how will you bring that, intensity? Will you bring that viciousness? And I've got to say, the performance that you gave against Jack O'Sullivan, and this is no disrespect, it was only me seeing you against Bailey Short and Liam Slade previously. I didn't think you had that viciousness. I didn't think you had that kind of finishing instinct.
Yeah.
And you proved me completely wrong, because that performance there kind of blew me out the water a little bit in terms of, wow, okay, so this is what Billy Herron can bring to the table when he is on fire. And I think if I hadn't have seen that performance, I would be saying this is a really, really tough ask against Dave Choppin, who, like you say, has a fantastic engine, who just keeps going for a big guy. And I've always said this, I've watched heavyweight boxing over the years, from sort of amateur, from professional. I can remember watching John McDermott at the York Hall, and for a big guy, how you can go 12 rounds with that sort of size and that frame. But I take my hat off to anybody who can, whatever weight. But as a heavyweight, it's pretty phenomenal. He's got a great engine, so. This has got a lot of layers to it, and like you say, Dave's cunning, he's tricky, he's got sort of a great engine again. So I suppose let's have a look at this. So you're coming into this fight as the champion, and that means something. You're defending your belt. You're kind of seen as sort of one of the top heavyweights in the division now. Dave is coming in here, and he kind of said. And I can't remember if he said it on camera or off camera, but he said when this fight was announced, there was a danger that he was just going to take it for granted that he was going to win, because obviously there is that sort of that kind of friendship, relationship, that sort of history. But he said he's had to kind of dial in and sort of say, no, this is a fight that I need to be switched on for. So for you, approaching this fight, how do you go about taking the performance that you did against Jack O'Sullivan, who wasn't a friend, you didn't know him, he was just a rival. How do you replicate that against somebody like you say who you know?
I think with Jack there was 3 days notice. Didn't have a chance to speak to the fella. Nothing, no bad word to say against him. He hasn't got bad bone to say in his body. So it was just more get in there and show everyone what I can do. The 3 days notice for me was, right, no pressure, just go in and enjoy yourself. And I remember watching back on the Bailey fight, and I remember you saying in there, like, Billy Herron is a nice, tidy boxer, but he lacks that spite. And I think I was on the phone to Dave before, and he was like, that's what you need to bring to win this fight. So we brought it. Ben was saying to me, Bill, get in there, let your hands go, enjoy it. Like, you're never going to get an opportunity like this to fight for a title with such little pressure. Just enjoy it, shut everyone up, like, show them you are here to be noticed. And that's that's what happened. Got in there, done that with Jack, ended up very well. And I think with Dave, it's the way he talks. There's a lot more pressure on him to win the fight. Even though I'm the champ, even though I hold the title, I'm the champion. The way he talks, the way he carries himself, there's a lot more pressure on him. I'm very much people say to me, "Are you not nervous?" Like, I'll be in the training rooms having a laugh and a joke. It's like, no, this is what we train for. Like, this is like the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. This is what I enjoy. So I'm very good at dissecting the nerves out and putting that into play to just almost be in my comfort zone in the ring. Like, I'm not empty, but I feel no pressure, I feel no nerves. That's my place, my happy place is in the ring. So, and again, there's going to be a lot more pressure on Dave to win the fight than there will be for me.
Agreed. I think, that he's coming into this as almost like the kind of at the early stages, the kind of the mentor role, sort of like, there to give you advice on fights, previous fights, etc. So there is pressure on him. Equally, there's pressure on you as the champion because you're thinking, well, I don't want him to sort of coming into this fight thinking it's going to be a walk in the park, and then it is a walk in the park. So there's both. No,
100%. I'm going to have to be switched on. I'm going to have to put everything together. It's going to have to be my best performance yet, and that's what we've been working on. That's what we've been training for. That's what we're aiming for, and that's what I'm ready to show.
Have you got the power to stop Dave Choppin? And when or if you're given that opportunity and he's in trouble, do you think that, friendship put aside, you will go in for the stoppage?
100%. I believe personally I have the power to stop any heavyweight on this circuit. Like, when I land, as Dave said in this interview, he knows I've got a heavy shot. He thinks I won't land it. That's the thing. I don't just throw wildly. I time it. I'll wait for it. Looking at Jack O'Sullivan, it wasn't rushed. It was calculated. It was every shot landed where I wanted it to land. So give me the opportunity. It's being taken.
You see in boxing, the kind of they call it the tail of the tape. The sort of the attributes of each fighter, what they do well against what their opponent does. What would you say Billy Herron brings to this fight that Dave Choppin doesn't have? And equally, I'll flip that. What does Dave Choppin bring to this fight that maybe you don't have?
I think Dave brings a different kind of engine for a heavyweight. He's got good movement, but I think everything else, attribute-wise, I'm above him. I've got age on my side. I've got power on my side. I've got the jab on my side. You very rarely ever see Dave use the jab to his advantage, albeit he's shorter, so he has to get inside. But I feel like he's going to have to old man me to win the fight. Jab and hold, jab and hold. He's not going to be allowed that close.
So this is, I suppose it's a fairly sort of age-old kind of. I'm trying to think of the best word to describe it, but a formula to win. You're the taller, you're the bigger man. Dave's the shorter fighter. He's going to have to roll in under the shots. He's going to have to close the distance. He's going to have to be on your chest. But still, like I said to him previously, watching his fights, he's got to be in a position where he is up close, but not too close to smother his work, and be able to get his shots off. Whereas for you, it's just using your physicality, your height, your reach, your size. Make it too hard for him to get into that sort of range where he can be effective. So I suppose it's who executes the game plan well.
I mean, people think, I'm 6'5", I can only fight at range. I'm more than happy fighting on the inside. I'm more than happy to let the body shots go. I'm more than happy to let the tight uppercuts go. So we'll just see how it plans on the night. It's my fight versus his fight, and may the best man win.
What point does the friendship, as in, I say, at what point is the friendship put on hold? Is it at the weigh-in? Is it game face at the weigh-in? Is it game face up until you walk out?
The moment the first bell goes. The moment the first bell goes, it's switch on time. It's like I'll still be having a laugh and a joke in the corner, but as soon as we do the meet in the middle, when you go to the meet in the middle with the referee, that's when it's right. Everything else aside, I'm here to win.
Who wants it more, do you think?
Me. It's my title. I've worked hard to get here, and I'm keeping hold of it. Dave's going to have to retire. I'm retiring Dave Choppin.
Well, I think it's a fascinating fight, and I think, like you say, for the winner of this fight, whether it's and still or the new, however this fight plays out, it's going to be a fantastic contest. And I think what you've shown in your last performance against Jack O'Sullivan, and really what Dave Choppin has shown in his fight, even though he didn't get the nod against Liam Slade, but his performance against Bailey Short, he's kind of like... He's like a fine wine.
He's getting better,
isn't he? He's getting better, and he's really grown into the sort of and come back from the setbacks that he's had. So I would say there isn't a better time for you two to meet.
100%.
You're at top of your game. Dave is sort of at the top of his game. You're both going to go in there, and whoever comes out with that belt is going to deserve it.
Yeah, 100%. But then if you look at his, as you said, Liam Slade, Bailey. This will be my 21st fight. They haven't had 21 between them. So I think my experience is going to be a lot more meaningful compared to what opponents he's faced before. Like I've been in that position before. I've fought people like him. I've come out on top. So let's see. He's going to have to bring something special to win. Something special.
Well, I gave Dave the opportunity to say, swap places with me, Dave, and sort of, you're here and, you're sending a message out to Billy Herron, so I'll give you the same opportunity. So if you were Dave was standing here now, and it's sort of, the first bell's about to start, but you've got a little bit of a moment to say, what's going to happen in the fight. What would you say to Dave?
So I'm not a horrible guy. Good luck. Stay away from the right hand, stay away from the left. Just enjoy it, mate. Enjoy it. I haven't got a bad bone in my body. I'm not one of these people that's going to say I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But get ready for retirement.
Get ready for retirement. Well, there you go. So we're going to wrap it up there. Billy, it's great to see you here at the Secret Squirrel Gym down in Hawley. I know this is where you're based out of with your trainer Ben. So I know there's a lot of still hard sessions to go.
100%.
Saturday, June the 14th is the date. It's a massive card of boxing at the Effingham Park Hotel. The show is called Bragging Rights. One of you will walk out with a title and bragging rights.
Yeah.
And like you say, I'm sure the friendship will resume after this fight. But it's a great fighting prospect for your fans, for Dave's fans, and also for the neutrals as well. So good luck with your preparations. And as I say, for those wanting to watch it, as I say, the date is June the 14th. The show is Bragging Rights, and the national heavyweight champion here, Billy Herron, will be making the first defence of his title up against his, I'll say, old rival, but it's not, it's his friend, Dave Ain't Stoppin Choppin.
Perfect.